This is the Brazilian Wonder Kid series. The Brazilian Wonder Kid was playing in a trial match to get on his local team. He had silky smooth skills and was playing really well. He had an early chance, but the goalkeeper saved it. Then he had a crazy trivela attempt, but the GK somehow saved it again. Now the Brazilian Wonder Kid had a free kick that was literally perfect. But this freak of nature goalkeeper saved it again. The Brazilian Wonder Kid was literally dropping an absolute masterclass, but the goalkeeper was not letting him score. All until the young Brazilian bamboozled the keeper with his flair and now had a wide open goal. But the goalkeeper still somehow saved it. The match was almost done now, and the Brazilian Wonder Kid had one more chance. He hit a squeaky clean sombrero flick and loaded up a supercharged power shot volley screamer banger. But will he score? The Brazilian Wonder Kid had a chance to score the match winner in his trial, and he scored a blood-clot screamer. This meant he had officially signed to the team. In their first match, they were up against the best striker from Sweden. The Swedish striker scored a filthy volley right away. But the Brazilian Wonder Kid answered with one of the greatest solo goals in the history of the beautiful game. The Swedish striker clapped back again with a fine AF solo goal himself. The Brazilian Wonder Kid then lit up the whole stadium with an inch-perfect Rabona pass to his teammate who didn't sell the clip and actually scored. Then the Brazilian Wonder Kid got the ball on the wing and converted another chance to take the lead. But the Swedish striker did not give up. He went on to score an insanely acrobatic gymnastic golazo. The match was coming to an end, and the Brazilian Wonder Kid had one last chance. All he had to do was dribble past the Swedish striker. Will he do it? The Brazilian Wonder Kid had a chance to score the winner, but he had to dribble past the Swedish striker. He dribbled past him, but then he fluffed the shot. The Brazilian Wonder Kid was distraught after this and wanted to quit. But the team signed the most famous, iconic Brazilian striker, who was the Brazilian Wonder Kid's idol. The iconic striker taught the Brazilian Wonder Kid a new move, which was guaranteed to work every time. It was difficult, but the Brazilian Wonder Kid learned it in the end. In the next match, the iconic striker was scoring golazos for fun. This guy was an absolute freight train, and no one could stop him. He could literally do it all, and I'm not even glazing. Then he gave the ball to the Brazilian Wonder Kid. Can the Brazilian Wonder Kid regain his confidence by using his new move? The Brazilian Wonder Kid had a chance to use his new move and boost his confidence, and it worked. He scored a neat and tidy goal to end the match. The next match started the same way with exquisite link-up play between the two Brazilian stars, leading to a goal from the Brazilian Wonder Kid. Then the Brazilian Wonder Kid hit an AKA 3000 pass to assist the iconic striker's delicious volley. Then, just like Randy Orton, the other team brought on a super sub out of nowhere. This guy was a Team of the Season quality player, as he immediately started scoring. He was lighting up the entire country with his skill and finishing prowess. He did not stop scoring, as he literally kept finding the back of the net. Nobody could guard this guy. He even bamboozled the Brazilian Wonder Kid to score his fifth goal, making it 5-2. Can the two Brazilians somehow make a comeback? Two Brazilians were losing 5-2 and needed to pull something out the bag here. They scored a beautiful tiki-taka goal that prime Barcelona would be proud of. Then, with outstanding teamwork, the iconic striker set up the Brazilian Wonder Kid to make it 5-4. In the dying moments of the match, the Brazilian Wonder Kid played a long ball that the iconic striker Rocket Screamer volleyed into the roof of the net. They had scraped a draw, all until the other team's super sub found himself through on goal looking to bag the winner. The Brazilian Wonder Kid tracked all the way back and pulled off one of the blocks of the century. Oh my days, he really saved the whole game. After the match, the Brazilian Wonder Kid was approached by a scout from one of the world's best teams. Will he join this super club? The Brazilian Wonder Kid got an offer from a world-class football team, and he decided to join them. In his first match for the club, he was on the bench, and he noticed that they were playing against the overpowered goalkeeper from back in part 1. The team were trying everything, but they could not score on the goalkeeper. They had some point-blank opportunities, but this keeper, once again, was not letting the ball past him. This guy was playing like an actual brick wall. I wonder what was in his cereal this morning. It was finally time for the Brazilian Wonder Kid to get subbed on. He was hoping he could score the winner on his debut. He received the ball and was 1v1 with the overpowered goalkeeper. Will he score the winner? The Brazilian Wonder Kid was trying to score a debut winner. He dribbled past the overpowered goalkeeper, but then the goalkeeper fouled him. The referee gave a penalty, and it was the Brazilian Wonder Kid's chance for glory. He stepped up and sent the goalkeeper the wrong way to complete his fairy tale debut and to win the match. What a promising young player. In the next match, they were up against their biggest historical rivals. They had the current best player in the world. The match started with this Portuguese left winger scoring right away. Then he completely broke the Brazilian Wonder Kid's ankles to make it 2-0. This guy was an absolute beast. Will the Brazilian Wonder Kid be able to forge a comeback? The team was losing 2-0 against their rivals, and he responded to the other team's lead with a mouth-watering solo goal that might win Goal of the Year. After dapping up one of his teammates, he somehow managed to score another solo goal. Then, he expertly placed the ball under the wall from a free kick to take the lead. The coast was looking clear until the other team's Portuguese winger had a one-on-one. But the goalkeeper made an excellent save. They had won the match, and this performance had earned the Brazilian Wonder Kid a call-up to the Brazilian national team, which makes sense because he is Brazilian. Will he be in to win the World Cup for his country? The World Cup started with one of the Brazilian players scoring an own goal. This was terrible, but the Brazilian Wonder Kid stayed positive. He pulled off his signature sombrero flick and combined it into a volley rabona to make it 1-1. Then there was a penalty kick which the Brazilian Wonder Kid claimed. He converted it with 99 composure to take the lead. Another Brazilian provided the cherry on top with a header, making it 3-1. The Wonder Kid continued absolutely cooking throughout the tournament. He was scoring screamer bangers and pulling of magnificent tecker skills. Brazil were one of the favorites to win, but now it was down to the quarterfinals against an informed Colombian team. Can the Brazilian Wonder Kid take his team past Colombia? Brazil were playing against a strong Colombian side. The Brazilian Wonder Kid was absolutely popping off, though, and putting on a show for all the fans. People were starting to realize that he was destined to be the next GOAT. A Brazilian teammate opened the scoring to take the lead, and then a defender on the team scored a rocket ship screamer banger free kick to make it 2-0. Things were looking great until the Brazilian Wonder Kid got run up on by a Colombian player. He got kneed in the vertebrae and that thing broke in half. This was devastating, and it made the tournament was over for the Brazilian Wonder Kid. This is the Brazilian Wonder Kid series, Season 2. The Brazilian Wonder Kid was finally back from injury, and it's fair to say he was back to his best. The young Brazilian had once again become one of the scariest talents in world football and was embarrassing his opponents with skills no one had ever even seen before. But then, out of nowhere, the enemy team score a technically brilliant solo goal to take the lead.
We need a goal, and we need it quickly.
The Brazilian Wonder Kid took this personally by scoring a screamer volley to equalize.
Come on!
In the dying moments of the match, the opposition created a 1v1 chance out of nothing and chipped the goalkeeper. The Brazilian Wonder Kid hustled back to save it, but he could only manage to save it with his hand. This got him a red card and he was kicked out. Will the other team score a last-minute penalty winner? The other team had a penalty to win the match, but the keeper saved it. In the next match, the Brazilian Wonder Kid was suspended, and he noticed the team brought in an absolute baller replacement. This guy was actually goated at football. He was hitting some delicious-looking skills and was making a very good impression. He then scored a trademark banger to take the lead in the match. After that, he scored another banger to call game. The Brazilian Wonder Kid was very inspired by his replacement and went to congratulate him. But the replacement snubbed him, which annoyed the Brazilian Wonder Kid a lot. The coach said he had to choose between the Brazilian Wonder Kid and his rival teammate. But then it turned out he was capping and selected both players. The rival players had to become a dream duo. In the next match, the two ballers were absolutely lighting it up with their refreshing samba flair. It's like they had 100 chemistry already. The techie midfielder set up the Brazilian Wonder Kid to score. Then the Brazilian Wonder Kid set up the techie midfielder to double their lead. But the other team had not given up. They had a Croatian midfielder who got a goal back. Then he dapped up his teammate, who was coincidentally a dog. Then he clutched up and bagged another goal. In the dying moments of the match, he was through on goal again. Will the Croatian midfielder complete the comeback? The Croatian had one final chance, and he broke the Brazilian WONDERKID's heart with a goal to win. In the next match, they were playing against a mid-table side. In this match, the Brazilian WONDERKID and the techie midfielder were playing terribly. They could not score a goal to save their lives, and it was actually quite embarrassing. It honestly looked like they'd never played football before. Then they had a strong chance to score the winner with the Brazilian WONDERKID getting played through. But he skied it. Then the techie midfielder got fed up and smashed it in to make it 1-0. The Brazilian WONDERKID told his team that they must not let this slip. Then he turned in the middle and actually slipped. This led to the other team being through on goal. Will they punish the Brazilian WONDERKID's mistake? The other team capitalized and scored an equalizer. The techie midfielder was furious, and he basically refused to play in the next match. The coach told the Brazilian WONDERKID that he was now the main man of this team. He had brought in some new signings, such as the Samba defensive midfielder, the pacey French winger, and the energy drink British striker. They started cooking right away with the Brazilian WONDERKID assisting the energy drink striker for a bicycle kick. Then the Samba midfielder set up the French winger for another goal. Everything was going so well until they noticed who they were playing against next. They couldn't believe who their next opponents were. Who will the next opponents be? The Brazilian WONDERKID's new God Squad were up against a mystery team of robots. These robots were honestly way better than humans at football. They scored right away, and then they outskilled the Brazilian WONDERKID to score again. Even with the Brazilian WONDERKID's Samba flair, he couldn't beat the robot goalkeeper. Neither could anyone on the team. They were no match for the technologically advanced ballers. He went on to score another to equalize. Then he scored a clutch goal from a cross to take the lead. Then the Brazilian WONDERKID got sent for a hot dog, and the robots made it 3-3. The Brazilian WONDERKID's confidence was hella low, but then he had a flashback to how good he was at his Brazilian club, and it motivated him. There was a and the tiny Argentinian were becoming one of the most influential duos of the century. They were breaking records by hitting the smoothest skills and scoring the cleanest goals. These two were unstoppable. Everything this duo did was just so clean. Then, out of nowhere, the techie midfielder from a few episodes ago decided to snake the team and go to a top Italian team. He was talking smack about the Brazilian WONDERKID in an interview, saying he was trash. The Brazilian WONDERKID could not take this and had to get revenge at all costs. Now it was time for them to go head-to-head. The Brazilian WONDERKID sauced the techie midfielder up with a crazy move and opened the scoring with a volley. The techie midfielder was embarrassed, but he bounced back with an on-brand techie toe poke. The Brazilian WONDERKID took the lead again with a delicious flip-flap into a finesse shot. The techie midfielder showed great feet, and the buried a Rabona goal. The Brazilian WONDERKID was hella frustrated, but he managed to grab another goal. Then the techie midfielder hit one of the silkiest skills of the decade and finished with a diving header. Then he picked up the ball again and flicked it over. The Brazilian WONDERKID rushed back. Then the Brazilian WONDERKID dove back and somehow saved the goal by flicking it over his opponent's head. He then went on to score, which won the game against the techie midfielder. In the rest of the season, the Brazilian Wonder Kid was playing very well and scoring lots of goals. The tiny Argentinian, on the other hand, went on to become one of the best players in the world. He was breaking records in every match, and he became a legend and one of the GOATs. The Brazilian Wonder Kid felt in his shadow and decided to take a money move to a top French club. This meant he was leaving his legacy behind. See you in Season 3. The Brazilian Wonder Kid chose to move to France's top team. When he arrived there, he felt at home and he was ready to start absolutely cooking for his new club, and the fans were loving it. He started the first match on the bench against his team's biggest rivals. The star player got an early chance. He expertly flicked the ball over the defender and then socked it top bins. Oh my days, what a goal. Then the same brother got another chance, but he missed by 3 inches. The Brazilian Wonder Kid's new team were cooking until the other team randomly created some space and scored a Sigma long shot from half. There's no way he just did that. This was very frustrating, and the coach decided it was time to bring on the one and only Brazilian Wonder Kid. This was one of the top 10 most gigantic moments in football. The coach told him he was too expensive to not score the winner here. He took off the star player, he controlled the ball with signature flair. He nutmegged the first defender. Then he hit a silky, smooth flick and went for the volley. He scored one of the most monumental cinematic volleys to win the match. This goal was an instant hood classic. What a start for his new club. Later on, a random man offered the Brazilian Wonder Kid a juice that would supposedly make him better. He gladly drank it, and something changed. In the next match, he scored a physically impossible goal. I can't lie, this was a bumbleclot screamer. This was almost too good to be true. How was bro so good? That's when he was interrogated by the ref for cheating. The Brazilian Wonder Kid was shocked. Turns out it was illegal and he got a 5-match ban. After the ban, he was finally back and his team was playing against one of the top teams in the country. He literally couldn't dribble these guys. They were too overpowered at defending. They were just levels above the Brazilian Wonder Kid, I can't lie. Then the star player played the Brazilian Wonder Kid in, and he got fouled. It was a penalty. He insisted he should take the pen. He literally pushed the star player away like an absolute Sigma. Now he just needed to pull off the coldest moment and actually score, or he'd look like a beta. The other team were trying to get in his head, but he tried to ignore them. The Brazilian Wonder Kid had a penalty against the top team, but unfortunately blood hit the post. Then the other team subbed on the Saudi superstar. This guy had 99 aura. He scored a bumbleclot screamer immediately. Then he nutmegged the Brazilian Wonder Kid and made it 2-0. The Brazilian Wonder Kid and the star player made a master plan. They pulled off a clean 2-man step. Star player then sent a through ball and continued his run. The Brazilian Wonder Kid bamboozled his man and pulled off an AK 3000 pass, and the star player was through. He scored a signature goal. Then the Brazilian Wonder Kid truly became Sigma and used his Samba Brazilian flair to score a solo goal that tied the game. There was one more chance. The Brazilian Wonder Kid dribbled through, but the Saudi superstar fouled him. He had a last-minute free kick to win the match. The Brazilian Wonder Kid had a 90th minute free kick to win, and bro scored an absolute screamer banger to beat the #1 team. Then he got a random call, and it turned out he got called up to the Brazilian national team. He got literally so hyped. He traveled to England for international break. The flight went very smoothly. There were literally no issues whatsoever. Then he met up with his team. And then the Great British Wonder Kid showed up, and he chatted. Brazilians got two legendary reinforcements out of nowhere. The iconic striker immediately changed the game. It was so natural. I'll be so real, everything this guy did was so clean, gosh darn. He flicked the ball back to the tucked-in shirt legend who 360 rainbow flicked the ball. Somehow he hit a Rabona bicycle kick. There's no way bro can even do that. Then he hit the most NPC celebration. The Brazilian Wonder Kid got motivated AF. He had some clean link-up play with the iconic striker, which led to him scoring a scorpion kick. Oui, c'est magnifique. This is when the great British Wonder Kid said no more Mr. Nice Guy. He went on such a technically equipped skill run. The great British Wonder Kid left Brazil in the dust to score the equalizer, which meant the match ended in a draw. It was on to the next, as the Brazilians traveled to Morocco for their next match. The Brazilian Wonder Kid was absolutely cooking. That's until he got challenged by this Moroccan Wonder Kid. He thought this was going to be easy AF, but he was low-key wrong. He tried to pana him, but the Moroccan Wonder Kid saw it coming. It turns out the Moroccan Wonder Kid had 5-star skills and was a technical dribbler. He had a brazy Rabona link-up, and he jumped 12.6 feet in the air to score a bicycle kick. Then he nutmegged a Brazilian defender and smacked it bins. And then he rainbow flicked the defender and got fouled. They were no match for him. Not trying to glaze, but he was the Moroccan Ronaldo. He stepped up and chipped his penalty down the middle for his hat trick. Losing 3-0, the coach had a super sub up his sleeve. Can he inspire a comeback? To be continued. The Moroccan Wonder Kid was destroying Brazil and was winning 3-0. That's when the coach brought on a super sub who was none other than the techie midfielder. If someone could inspire a comeback, it would defo be him, I can't lie. He immediately started popping off as he had a flary link-up with the Brazilian Wonder Kid to score a silky volley. They still needed 2 goals to equalize. He brought the Brazilian Wonder Kid into the game again as he produced a technical masterpiece, then to only give the ball back to the techie midfielder so he could score a chip. The Moroccan Wonder Kid was on the ball again, but the Brazilian Wonder Kid cleaned him out with a slide tackle. They used their 100 chemistry to set the Brazilian Wonder Kid up for his signature volley. He was looking like prime Ganso here. The Brazilian Wonder Kid scored a wild volley in the last minute. Que golazo. This meant the match against Morocco ended in a draw. He ended on good terms with the Moroccan Wonder Kid. Now the Brazilian Wonder Kid had to fly all the way back to Paris because he had an important match. It was the Champions League final. They were playing against a top Italian team. The match started, and they immediately got a chance. The happy baller was too quick. He nutmegged the Brazilian Wonder Kid easily, and literally scored a screamer in the first minute. He hadn't stopped smiling since the match started. Then he played a 1-2 with his extremely handsome teammate and scored a deep top bins curler. Who was this guy and why was he so good? The Brazilian Wonder Kid needed to stop the happy baller. He recovered the ball with a skill show nutmeg and had some techie link-up play with the star player. He crossed it in, and the star player scored a diving header to make it 2-1. Then the star player won the ball right from kickoff. He rolled it back, and the Brazilian Wonder Kid shot from the halfway line. Bro actually scored a screamer banger from half to tie the game. Ain't no way. There was one more chance, and the Brazilian Wonder Kid bamboozled the defender and played in the star player, but he got fouled. He gave the penalty to the Brazilian Wonder Kid, and it was down to him. He stepped up and smacked it in. The Brazilian Wonder Kid had actually secured the Champions League. Bro was legit Henry in the Champions League. They had beat the top Italian team. The star player let the Brazilian Wonder Kid lift the trophy, and he went down in history. What a clinically elite way to end Season 3. Season 4 is going to need to be unreal to top this.